Hi everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to be taking you into my garden and showing you how I harvest the herbs that we've been growing. And then I'm going to do a part 2 another day and show you how I dry out and preserve those herbs so that we can use them throughout the year. Now this is just how I do it. I don't know everything, I just know how I've been doing it. So take what you want from this video and do what works for you. So the first herb that we're going to be working with is dill. So something that's really important to know about your dill is what these flowers are here. When I first saw them, I thought that it was more dill growing out of the top, but that's not true. This is actually the flower growing out of the dill, and what that will do is it will turn to seed and then the plant will die. So you don't want to let that happen until the end of the season. And if you are at the end of the season, you can let it go to seed and the dill will just replant itself. But if you're at the beginning and you want to continue to harvest your dill throughout the season, you're going to want to cut those off. So this is what those flowers look like. You can see a few here. So I'm just going to go in with my scissors and snip those off. The flowers that are still really small, don't worry about digging in there and trying to get those flowers out. Let them open up. They're not going to turn to seed right away. Just try and get those bigger flowers off there. Once you do this, they actually become really fragrant. Now when I'm harvesting my dill, I'm going to look for the branches that stem off of the main branch. So you can see this is the main stem here that goes all the way to the bottom. I'm just going to cut off these branches that are coming off the side here. So I'm looking for the bigger branches. I'll show you the size that I'm going to cut off. I would say they should be about that big when you're cutting them off. I'm not going to take too much. On a small plant like this, I might take about 5 or 6 branches off each harvest that I do. So now we're moving on to basil. This is one of my favorite herbs other than cilantro. So the basil is pretty simple. One of the fastest ways to kill your basil is by cutting it off at the main stem there. So if you go in and you want to take off your leaves and you cut it off right here, your basil's going to die. You can see on this plant that the new leaves are growing out of the top. Let me show you a few more examples. We got new baby leaves growing right there and some new ones there. So I'm gonna look for the biggest leaves that look sort of like this, and I'm just gonna trim them off right at that point right there. I'm not gonna cut off this main stem, I'm just gonna cut off this one branch. If you see anything that looks like this and is starting to turn a little bit brown, just take that off the plant. You don't want it to infect the other leaves. Now with the rosemary, you can just go in and take off individual leaves as you need them. Or if you want to do a bigger harvest, I'll show you how to do that. So with the rosemary, you can also cut that main stem, but I'm only going to cut about the top third of the rosemary and make sure I leave some green along the bottom. As you can see, I've already been plucking off some individual leaves as I've needed them. So in here we've got thyme and oregano. As you can see, they look quite similar. And you can harvest them pretty similarly also. I just tend to look for the branches that look a lot longer and I cut them off. It's really simple. I just harvested from this one pretty recently. You can see a few snips in there. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one off, looks a little bit longer, and this one that's hanging over the side of the pot, and maybe this one at the back here. So now I've taken you over to our onions. So we have actually been able to trim the stems off of our onions and use those as green onions, and we found that they've actually been growing back for us. So I'm gonna go in and cut it pretty close to the bottom. Now we've got a nice big green onion. So something that I've learned while doing this is that when you see an onion that looks like this, it's got a little bit of a thing coming out of the top, just leave that one alone, let it grow, because this is gonna turn it into an even taller onion, and then you can harvest an even bigger one. See, this is what it turns into over here. That little sprout at the top will turn into a longer green onion. Okay, so that was today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it and I hope that it was helpful. Leave me a comment letting me know if you learned anything from this video, if you're gonna try anything out. And if you haven't already, please remember to subscribe to my channel and I'll see you next time. Bye.